We're back, department. I would like to file a claim. Hi, I'm Megan, and welcome to the Intermish, the show where it's literally the length of an NHL intermission, where we discuss the NHL, teams, memes, players, traditions, rules, and...
It's a fucking National League.
What?
Do that shit in the minors.
Hey, you were in the minors longer than me, you dumb fuck.
I don't fucking do stupid shit.
And to that we say...
Go dye your hair.
I'm sorry it's been a moment, but I have bronchitis, and, yeah, I'm on a lot of meds. I understand I look like Nosferatu, aka Count Orlok, aka, because that's the hand motion he makes. So let's get into some news. Start the timer. Red Wings have a new coach, Todd McClellan, and he literally just said, let's play hockey, and that's what he's done, and that's what we've done. So basically, I'm excited about my team again, and I think everybody should be excited about their team again, regardless of who you have as your team. General managers, players, and coaches vary. Connor Bedard had a New Year's Eve party, and no one showed up, not even his team, but the St. Louis Blues did. And, yeah, forgive me if I, speak out of turn. But the NHL Outdoor Winter Classic is typically on New Year's Day. And having it on New Year's Eve, the night of the year where everybody typically has plans. And, I'm just going to basically say I would really love it if they'd stop, messing with tradition. I understand tradition in some cases is bad, but not in the NHL when it comes to, games that are typically held outdoors. On top of that, maybe if they picked better teams, they would have better viewership. Because as much as they would love to shove down, Connor Bedard down our throats, it's just not working, bud. Maybe if you had picked a better team, or we had a Battle of Alberta outdoors, I would have watched that. And I'm pretty sure the last time they had really good viewership was in 2014 when it was the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong in the text below. But also, keep making those great choices, Gary, you and NHL corporate advertising and, marketing, who decided that next year's outdoor game is going to be played in Miami, Florida, which is the worst idea I have ever heard since the University of Tennessee played Virginia Tech at Bristol Motor Speedway. Seemed like a great idea on paper, terrible idea when it hit canvas. But oh well, what do I know? I'm just a girl who's been watching this sport since, she was an infant. Let's move on. If you're wondering, and you aren't, this is how I flirt. I'm mean to you, and I challenge you to some things, and typically most men don't get it. But, it's very well exhibited here with Connor Bedard. Not Connor Bedard, Connor McDavid. Damn, I really am on a lot of meds. Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews. The Devils and the Rats got together, and this work of art happened. Because to quote the beloved child's book, if you give a mouse a cookie, if you give a Kachuk a gritty team to fight, odds are he's gonna want to fight them. And if he fights them, it's gonna become a meme. I love this picture. I love this sports art account. It's genius. It's insane how many pictures, and paintings there are in the world that can, be applied. It's wonderful. We should really open a gallery of just all of them. The Bruins thing. Pause. I get this is a 20-minute show, but I just paused my 20-minute timer so I can just say this. To whoever Keefe is from Jones and Keefe, saying that the locker room is a disaster and David Pastrnak is at the center of that. Pastrnak has told the team he doesn't want to be on the line with Marchand, and it may stand from Marchand calling out of his play. Yikes. Then the CBS News article says that they have emphatically shot down the report that the two are at odds during the mid-struggles during the season. Both players laughed off the report, and Marchand went after the radio host who started the kerfuffle on Friday morning. He reported on air, Rich Keefe reported on air that the Boston locker room is a mess. Pasternak is at the center of the issue, and he doesn't want to share a line with Marchand. First of all, how dare you pit a boy and his rat against each other, you idiot? Second of all, I'm going to just go ahead and say this. If you are not in that locker room and you are not playing on that team, you don't need to start drawing conclusions because, bud, I've met some men when they can draw, and they are terrible drawers. And I hope you got your shoulder popped back in from that reach. I'm really tired of media people making media people like me and content creators. I hate saying that term. I'm so sorry I just said that. And news outlets look like shit because you want, to create some sort of little drama. There is no problem there. They're just going through some things. Everyone does. Some women get bangs. Some people dye their hair a different color. And sometimes they go on weird little win-lose streaks. That's all I have to say. Pissed. Not for the Bruins fans. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Just mind your business. With the allegation of that cancer happening in that locker room, speaking of cancer, you're the worst person alive when you get kicked out of Russia. I would say his name, but when you say it 3 times, it's like Beetlejuice. He comes back, and you don't know what to do with him other than put him on a different team. The guy who owns the Sabres hasn't sold the team yet. Cheap bastard. At least we got this very chaotic moment. I would play it, but, Gary, apparently the NHL is copyright striking people who use footage from games into digital content. And to that I say, Gary, I would love to meet you at center ice, throw my gloves down, and have Arbor Jack fight you. Because, well, I would fight you, but I'm a lady, damn it. And let's move on to some lighter... And before we move on to some lighter things real quick, Connor Bedard at 19 scored 100 goals, and you'd think by 19, 100 goals, you'd be ecstatic. If you look at this picture, the boy looks dead. To which, I'm going to pause my timer again. Like I said, I don't care. If they can go over in network time, I can go over. I'm going to just briefly touch on this in a sense of, well, I feel bad for him, and I hate that I feel bad for him, but I always kind of hold my breath for the first round pick, the first guy that they pick. I always do, because no matter how good you are not a whole team. You cannot carry a team to a Stanley Cup. In some cases, I may be wrong, but in this case, Connor Bedard has been failed by the Chicago Blackhawks organization, who already has committed several atrocities that I don't want to get into. But it has, you would think with the talent that they have given him, which is, some of them are good, but you can't put Seth Jones out there forever with Connor Bedard and Tyler Bertuzzi, and you don't give him anybody. Nobody wants to play in Chicago. Nobody. And I wholeheartedly believe that Chicago deserves better. First of all, the city of Chicago and their fans deserve so much better and so much more than what that organization has given them. There, I said it. But I think that organization entirely needs a hard reset into, when what I mean by hard reset is when you hard reset your phone, if you have an iPhone, and you have to put your iCloud information in 1,000,000 times. Sorry, I had to cough, and now my eyes are watering. But let's continue. John Tortorella needed a bottom boost, and no one gave it to him. He's just a little guy. He's just a little guy. And before we go on to this next segment, I cannot believe I got him. I'm ecstatic who I got on this poster. His name is Tito, and he's a bunny. And you're probably like, Megan, this is a bunny. What? Yeah, so this is Tito Cooley, who is owned by Natalie. Natalie, who manages his social media due to his lack of thumbs. His dad's Devin Cooley, who plays for the Calgary Flames and the Calgary Wranglers. But enjoy this moment of just Tito Cooley. I put a Google form asking people, like, hey, if you have a question about hockey, give me some questions. And Twitch, I'll put the link in the description of the video below. If you want to submit topics or if you want to submit, like, things until, like, you know, maybe one day this gets big and half of my ideas can work. But, you know, one moment. About this question, and it's my favorite question I've ever been asked. So let me explain. This is how hockey works. Hockey, I'll also put little images on the side. Images on the side to help, you know, with my point or to use visual aids. There are 5 skaters on the ice, plus a goalie. 3 offensive players, left wing, right wing, and center, and 2 defensemen. The 3 offensive player in the line, they are in a line. If you ever see a NHL team do their projected lineup for, you know, a game, it's like quarterbacks, kind of. You have first string, second string, third string. In the NHL, it's first line, second line, third line, fourth line, and with defensive lines having like 3 lines as well. Those 3 offensive players who are in a line, they are besties. However, they can be changed depending on like somebody being sick, somebody being hurt. Hang on. Changed depending on, well, who's available, who's a scratch, who's not, and whether or not the line plays well together. They have to have a very insane amount of chemistry to make it work. Defensive players, I'm a very big proponent of you don't change who your defensive line is unless it's necessary, because I feel like defenders, they become extensions of each other. They have to have the right, you know, chemistry, communication, and things that can lead to overall productivity in the defensive end zone. So here's how they set up, basically, in the offensive zone if they're on offense. There's one guy in the middle who literally just jams the puck back in if there's a rebound, but the 2 defensive players typically play up near the blue line, so that way in case the puck gets turned over, they're the first ones back to help defend. Game starts with a face-off. Fun fact, face-offs can happen literally anywhere at a specific dot on the ice at any time. Face-offs typically will start a game, but they can be used as a reset if a shot is blocked and covered by the goalie, or if a foul occurs and they need to restart in the nearest, like, you'll see. Those are called half walls. Those little, like, boob-looking things, those are half walls. The half walls are on 2 on each end, and then the dots throughout the ice, those are where your face-offs can typically occur if a foul occurs. I think, like, one day I'm gonna edit this and, like, never have to put in a, like, FaceTime camera on my laptop edit, but when I mean a foul occurs, I meant to say if a foul occurs in the neutral zone, which is the middle part of the ice, those dots tend to be the ones they go to for the face-offs in the neutral zone. So sorry. Some rules that you should probably know. The puck has to cross the line before the person does. If a person crosses the line, blue line, before the puck does, it's offsides. You'll typically see the ref make this motion. That's the biggest thing, is understanding what offsides is. Another thing is you can't hook. Hook is where you take the curved part of your stick and you use it against the player's body, trying to hook them back a little bit so that way you get the advantage. Slew footing is where you can... Anyway, a slew foot is basically, because I was wrong in my explanation in my original filming, slew foot is basically where they use their feet, or like their skate, kind of, to knock down your foot so that way you slide backwards. Basically. My bad. You in the NHL, personally, other than the really dirty hits Brady Tkachuk does. But if a foul occurs, the guy who did it goes to the box for the minor, 2 minutes.
Go to the box, please. Go to the box, please. Now.
Typically. And then a face-off happens. And like I said, the face-off can occur anywhere on the ice, especially where the foul has occurred. During the face-offs, side note, I saw someone say, like, on Twitter, yes, it's Twitter, saying, like, I don't know why people get thrown out of that face-off circle, and I'm too afraid to ask why. I'm gonna tell you why, though. They can, like, get thrown out because they went too early, they weren't in the athletic position, like, they weren't ready, or they kept trying to get an advantage over the other player. So thus, you're thrown out. Another big thing is 2 minutes for roughing, and... because in 19 22, the NHL introduced a rule, Rule 56, which formally regulated fighting, or fisticuffs, as it was called in the official NHL rulebook. Rather than ejecting players, basically, you got 5 for fighting, which I think is pretty much the best thing. Not fighting, but the fact that they had a whole rule for it. Here's another big thing. If at the end of a game it's tied, you go to overtime. And in regular season, you get 1 overtime where it's 3v3. Where it's 3v3, and then if a power play happens because a penalty occurred, another guy from your team gets added in. And then you keep playing, and if overtime doesn't work, then, well, you go to a shootout. And if you think, oh, that probably applies in playoff hockey too, it doesn't. See, in playoff hockey, you go on the ice 3v3 for 20 minutes until somebody scores and wins. It's insane. And finally, to answer this question, I don't know what goaltender interference is. Who's to say? Basically, I think it's where you interfere with the goalie and you prevent him from doing his job. Who's to say? Anyway, this has been the most weird, I think my fever is coming back, episode of the Intermish ever, and hopefully next week I'll look and sound and be much, much better. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next week, and